Today, I'm going to talk about the 2 reasons why succulents stretch out and become leggy. The first is fairly well known and easy to recognize. The second, though, is often overlooked but more common than you might think. I'm going to show you how to fix both types of leggy succulents and the benefits that come with it. The most common cause of leggy succulents is called atoliation. And what that means is the succulent is stretching towards the nearest light source because it's not getting enough light. This echeveria here is starting that process. You can see it's lost its usual compact shape and is starting to stretch toward the nearest light because I left it in a shady spot for too long. If your succulent has stretched out and has become really leggy, the bad news is it can't be undone. But the good news is by fixing it, there's a lot of great benefits that come with it. I left this Pearl von Nürnberg echeveria in a shady spot for months. It stretched a lot, but now it's a perfect example to show you how to fix a leggy succulent. I like to take a good look at the stem of the succulent to find the best place to cut. My goal is to leave at least an inch or 2 for transplanting. I aim to cut at around a 45-degree angle. Next, I'll take the original plant out and transplant it into a new pot. I will continue to lightly water this plant as needed, and eventually, new succulent heads will start popping out of the stem. Before transplanting, I start by removing the bottom leaves. This gives me plenty of stem length to work with for transplanting. Accidents do happen, and I dropped this echeveria. It was damaged, but will be okay. Plus, there's a silver lining. Now I will have more leaves to propagate into new succulents. Usually, I would let the end of the cutting dry for a few days to let it callus over before transplanting, but this isn't necessary, and I'll go over that while I'm fixing the second type of leggy succulents. After fixing this elongated succulent, I'm left with the original succulent stem, which new succulent heads will sprout out of. The succulent cutting is now transplanted in its original planter, and the leaves will propagate new succulents, which I'm going to go over coming up. Now, let's go over the second reason why succulents stretch out and become leggy. This might come as a surprise to some, but there's a lot of succulents that naturally are supposed to stretch out and be leggy, like these ghost succulents here. My aunt has a pot filled with ghost plants that she has never pruned back. Some are so long they have fallen victim to the lawnmower. Sometimes these types of succulents need to be fixed when they get too long. I've got the go-ahead to take all of the really leggy, long succulent heads off of this pot. I'm gonna go all the way around it. All you really need for this project are simple household scissors. I have a good collection of these here, and I'm just going to cut them back to the edge of the pot like that. Again, very simple, very easy. You can even break these off if you need to, kind of like this, just break it off. You don't even necessarily need scissors. After cutting those long, leggy succulent heads, I'm left with the stems. And the reason I left the stems is because very soon on them, you're gonna start to see new little succulent heads that are gonna start to grow and fill in very nicely. I pruned around the whole pot, saving the leggy succulent cuttings as I went. After cutting the leggy succulents, I'm left with some really nice succulent heads with very long stems. I'm going to show you a few different methods of how you can use these. If you happen to have as many succulent cuttings as I do, you can go ahead and make another really cool succulent arrangement. And once I've taken the leaves off, I'm going to break this and go ahead and start filling up this pot. I'm really happy with how this succulent arrangement turned out, and now I'm going to show you the second option you'll have for your new succulent cuttings. Chances are you have bought some plants before, and whenever I buy plants, I try to save the little plastic pots that they come in because they come in handy for projects just like this. You don't need special and expensive succulent soil for a lot of succulents. As you can see, I'm taking more leaves off, and I'm just taking the big, thick leaves from underneath that are very mature. Break that off. If you want to leave this out a day, you can, to let it callus over, but I do fine just sinking it in there like that. Bada bing, bada boom, you've got yourself a new succulent planted in a nice container. Since I just broke the succulent off without letting it dry, kind of like this, I won't water it for a day or two once it's in there because then it'll dry out. I also like to take small succulent heads and put multiples into each one of these, and so then they'll get rooted and look really nice, and then I will go ahead and transplant them into a bigger pot once they're ready, or give this to someone as a gift. Who wouldn't like that? After fixing the elongated succulents, I have a lot of leaves left over. As I mentioned earlier, what's really cool is each one of these leaves is going to turn into its own baby succulent, like these, which have been propagating for about 3 weeks. There are many different ways to propagate succulent leaves. The most common technique I see is setting the leaves on a thin layer of soil for new roots to grow into, and then watering as needed. But you don't have to do this, or at least not right away. A few weeks ago, I picked succulent leaves, put them in this cup, and totally forgot about them. Even without water or soil, they started to sprout. Now that they have plenty of roots, I can transplant these baby succulents into their own pots. Since I have so many leaves from those ghost plants, I'm going to test out different propagation methods to find out which one works the best, and I'm going to make a video to share the results with you. Please let me know in the comments if this video was helpful. Thank you for watching, and best of luck to you with all of your plant projects.